we're here to announce a grant from the Red Cross in the amount of $1 million to the United Way of Long Island. The Red Cross is currently spending the funds generated from Sandy on urgent needs every day. And we couldn't do the work we do without the American public and the power of our volunteers. Today, we're here to build upon the long-standing relationship between the Red Cross and the United Way of Long Island. United Way will use this grant to provide sub-grants to three wonderful organizations: Adelante of Suffolk County, the Hispanic Brotherhood of Rockville Center, and La Fuerza Unida. These organizations will administer disaster case management services throughout Long Island. The Red Cross is proud of all the work that we do here, and we're very proud of our partnership with United Way.
This grant, this partnership, the Red Cross recognizing the frailty that is between all the communities, and especially will help to reach out to our folks around Long Island who are bilingual, who might have had a language barrier, who aren't necessarily in the pipeline for support. So we stand with three great partners also with the United Way, certainly in their expertise to make sure that every member of this community is served in a way and comes through the pipeline and gets support to recover and rebuild.
This is a great opportunity for our communities to be able to get this assistance, since many of them have been unable to really get something that is concrete and that is tangible and which will rebuild their lives. We have been doing other work that we can only help them fill out forms or whatever, and then you look at them and they say, well, what about my house? When are you going to help me fix this or that? So again, thank you so much. Our community is in such a great need, and I believe that with all the partners we'll be able to make a difference in Long Island. Thank you.
3 days after the storm, because Rockville Center has got their own electricity, and they really are fantastic, the people in Rockville Center, we became a warming site for Nassau County. We have senior citizens that needed the hot meals. We had the kids that the parents needed to go to work. We had people that had lost everything, and they needed a place to stay during the day, and then at night they could go with their relatives. So the impact on our agency from Hispanic families was tremendous. Jobs went out the window. And 10 months later, we still, many, like they said before, there's 2 Long Islands here. One that is going through hell, and one that really nothing happened to them. And that's what we're addressing today. That's what the Red Cross is addressing, the need in Long Island that affects all of us, because it's like a domino effect.
We are committed to continue our relief work with Sandy, and we have helped about 200 families. We have seen devastation and emotional trauma caused by Sandy in the families where we found people who were retired and sleeping on the floor. People who were 80, 85, being invaded by contractors, and it's a mind-blowing experience. We learned a lot, and we are committed to continue learning, continue helping the communities, and we are going to deploy, our experienced counselors to continue working with these families. Under other agencies, we work only on homeowners, but now we are expanding our effort to include renters, including other sectors of the community that have suffered.
Certainly, always terrific to do this work in partnership with a great team, and it's the only way it can get done. There's not one agency who can sort of lead the charge and accomplish all the tasks. The United Way's role within this grant will be in its expertise of construction case management to help work with the 3 sub-grantees and 3 organizations and their case managers into vetting the cases and making sure that on the construction end that the families all are able to go through the permitting process and everything, and to help with that challenge through our construction case management division.
Another one of our partners here with us, Gwen O'Shea, who's the president of the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island. The Red Cross recently announced a funding commitment of $1 million to the Health and Welfare Council for the Unmet Needs Roundtable. I'll ask Gwen to say a couple words here this afternoon. Thanks, Gwen.
It's my privilege to be here today with such great leaders that are involved in the recovery here on Long Island. And as a number of folks, both the former Senator Balboni and the Mayor of Rockville Center noted, we are just upon the first-year anniversary of Superstorm Sandy. Superstorm Sandy. You try to say that a few times in a row. And we know for many folks that it's just the beginning. That we know when we talk about a long-term recovery, we are just on the cusp of getting people to start their own recoveries, and we're looking at 3 to 5 to 7 years before we see communities rebuild. And what we know, as we've talked about this sort of two divided Long Islands, or two different Long Islands, is that, quite frankly, the communities that were impacted the most by Sandy were those that were already struggling. These were communities that were dealing with issues like unemployment, home foreclosure, high poverty rates, struggling to make ends meet. And when you add the issues that Sandy has brought along, we know it just makes the ability to get back to a level of sufficiency that much more difficult. Which is why having organizations like the 3 organizations here that are so rooted and so trusted within communities that already are at risk are the exact organizations that are going to reach out to the individuals that have been either fearful to come forward, unaware how to come forward, unaware of the services that are available. They will reach into these communities and help people start to put their lives back together. And the Health and Welfare Council of Long Island, as it facilitates the Long Island VOAD and the Long-Term Recovery Group, is really so pleased to work with organizations like the United Way of Long Island and the American Red Cross, who from the very beginning, I mean, Theresa and John and I and their staff, we were on the phone pre-October 29th, talking about how we were going to meet the needs if it was the type of storm that they were predicting. And quite frankly, it was worse. Long Island represents 62% of the unmet need in the region. 62%. And that doesn't get covered in the media. People look at the other part of Long Island that really wasn't impacted and forget about our struggling communities. So it's our privilege to work with 2 organizations that do such a fantastic job in fundraising and getting resources necessary, and give it out responsibly. And give it out to make sure that it goes to cover the long-term impact that we know those most vulnerable and at risk are dealing with. So we look forward to working not only with United Way and the American Red Cross, with our other disaster case management agencies that really will be the lifeline for so many folks that are still struggling.